guys, this is Claudia here from the Bookkeeping Experts. I've been a bookkeeper for a long time and I absolutely love what I do. If you are thinking about becoming a bookkeeper, or if you are a bookkeeper and you're not quite sure on how to evaluate a client's books to see how much work there is and how much you should charge, today we're going to talk to you. We're going to use QuickBooks tools in order to verify how much work there is to do in the books and how to identify certain errors by just having access, taking a look at the client's books. Okay, without much further ado, here we go. All right, QuickBooks. Okay. All right. So QuickBooks has a tool that allows you to go over your client's book and verify everything that needs to be done. Therefore, how much work there is to do. Now, in order to have that tool, you do have to have a Pro Advisor account. And when your client gives you access, you have to have access as an accountant. If you do have access just as a user, you will not have those tools. There are several tools for bookkeepers only, and you need to have them in order to clean up your client's books. All right, so you business owners, if you're watching that, you're not going to have that because that's just for Pro Advisors users only. Okay. All right, so on the left-hand side, when you go to your client's account, this is just a simple account, okay? On the left-hand side toolbar, you see Books Review. You want to click there, and it's going to take you to the Books Review right here. So this is your workflow. Now, sometimes it may be looking like this. This is the monthly maintenance. But if you're picking up a client for cleanup first, and as a matter of fact, whenever you pick up a client, you want to do some kind of cleanup. You want to make sure that the books are correct, right, before you dig in. And then after everything is done, then you can change this to monthly. And you can change it back and forth. But for cleanup, we're going to go ahead and click on cleanup. The first thing that I would take a look when talking to a client is the balance sheet to verify the balance on the checking account, all the bank accounts, the credit card accounts. Verify if there is any missing assets or if there is any negative amount on the asset or liability. Because that would mean that if it is on the asset, a negative amount on the asset account means that the client is recording there is expenses on that asset, deductions such as depreciation or whatever there is, but the client has not added the asset itself. So that's why it's negative. The liability account is the same thing. So you are recording the payments for, let's say, a car payment, a loan, or whatever it is, but the liability itself was not entered. So there is a problem there if there is negative amounts in the liability or the asset account. The asset account should not be negative, except if it is a depreciation account or amortization account. So with that being said, all right, so we're gonna go over the workflow. So first, like I said, I would take a look at the balance sheet, then the profit and loss. The profit and loss, what you're gonna look at is, once again, if there is any negative amount on the income, if there is any negative amount on expense. If there is a negative amount on income, means that there is an expense recorded as an income, or maybe it's discount and refund. So if that's the case, then it's okay. But other than that, there should be no negative amount in the income account. And in the expense account, there should be no negative account either. If there is a negative account, it's because there is an income in the expense recorded or categorized incorrectly. So you can have a little clue of what's going on. Okay, now the rest of the story is to go through all the bank accounts. So you want to take a look, what is the beginning balance in QuickBooks, and what's the beginning balance, or what's the balance in the bank. So if the account is linked, it's very easy. So you're gonna look at that and see if there is a difference, right? If there is a difference, you're gonna put the beginning balance right over here, and it's gonna show you automatically, or it's gonna give you automatically a journal entry. Now, I do not recommend just to do journal entry. I do not recommend just to do a journal entry, just to enter the difference here and that's it, because there could be so many things that needs to be fixed, such as maybe there is transactions in undeposited funds that need to be recorded as income, or maybe it's cash transactions. Maybe there is something that needs to be fixed on the products and service. Obviously, uncategorized asset, you need to go through and make sure that it's recorded correctly. Uncategorized asset, basically what it is that if there is a transfer, you don't know exactly what it is. QuickBooks sometimes try to put an uncategorized asset, but what it means is that you have to go back on that transaction and categorize what it is, what it really is. If it is a transfer, and if it is a transfer, you need to match them, and so on and so forth. So, okay, so credit card, if just go over all the main accounts that the customer have. Sales tax, make sure that everything is okay. If there is a difference, you want to make sure you take a look and ask for your clients all the necessary documents. So I can't emphasize enough, you can't just guess. It's, if your client wants you to do a proper job in the books, the client will need to give you all the bank statements, all the loan statements, sales tax reports, payroll reports, so you can go through all those items. If not, you can't reconcile those accounts without the proper documents. So ask for the proper documents. Now, if you want some video specific on how to clean undeposited funds or clean unapplied cash payment, we have more videos on all those subjects. But anyhow, for sales tax reports, so you do need those. If your client pays sales tax, ask for the sales tax report, whatever the client reports to the state that it's coming from. Okay, then you have the accounts that has not been connected to QuickBooks. So maybe you have some bank accounts that are there, but there's no connection. It's probably a lot of errors in there. If it is something like a clearance account, like a Square clearance account, and everything looks good, that's okay. Or a petty cash account, so that account is not going to be linked. But if there's anything else, like a bunch of bank account, as a matter of fact, I had a client who was categorized, or it was putting all her expenses as bank account. It was absolutely insanity. But we got that figured out and cleaned out. But anyhow, just for you to be aware, take a look at the disconnected bank accounts, bank feeds, and if they are disconnected, ask the client to connect, or if that's not supposed to be there, you want to clear that out of that bank account, the balance out of the bank account, and put it on an equity account, such as owner's investment or whatever it is, right? Okay. All right, so accounts without activity for 90 days, those are accounts for you to maybe it's a good idea to close it if there is no activity, so you can talk to your clients. Listen, there is no prepaid expenses. Do you want me to close this account? Do you ever use prepaid expenses or gift cards or things like that? If not, you can close those accounts. Now make sure before you close the account, you want to zero out the balance on those accounts. After you zero out the balance, then you can close. If not, you're going to get an error. All those balances going to go to opening balance. And the opening balance account is actually supposed to have a zero balance. All right, so after you go through all the accounts, QuickBooks is telling you exactly what you're supposed to do. Okay, so make sure, take a look at the chart of account and make sure that it has the industry specific account. So if it is attorney, if that it has a trust account, that the trust account is all set up correctly. If it is a retail store, that it has the inventory that is correct, and so on and so forth, right? Make sure the chart of accounts has entity specific accounts, industry and entity specific accounts. And most important for me is to check for duplicate accounts, because if you have too many accounts that are redundant, it's hard to read the profit and loss in the balance sheet. So you want to condense them to just what is needed. You don't need you don't want 20 accounts, 20 income accounts. So you want to simplify things. If your client wants to track specific sales, you can use tags for that. By the way, I have another video on tags, so you can use that to be able to track those. All right, so next is the transaction review. So this is up on top. You'll be able to navigate through the workflow. Okay, transaction review. Now, this feature is very cool. If your client has a lot of uncategorized transaction, and you can actually select those transactions right here, and you can ask client, and the client's going to receive an email asking what those transactions are for, and they can answer. Once they answer, I can go ahead and ask client. I can QuickBooks automatically will ask the question. I need to know what those transactions were, so I can categorize. Please be more as specific as you can. Please inform who was paid and what was the expense for. So I like to put a little bit more, and all the transactions are going to be here, and I'm going to share with the client, so the client will receive an email, and this is what the client's going to this is how it's going to be showing up to you. Once the client answer this, whatever says waiting here is going to say answer, and the answer is going to be right here. So if you hover over it, it's going to open up the client's answer to your question. So a lifesaver. This is absolutely awesome. It's a great feature. You also have that for transactions without payees. So you can select, I don't have anything here on the sample account, but you can select all those transactions and ask the owner who was the please inform me the payees for each of those transactions. Verify if the categorization is correct. Undeposited funds too. So this way, one thing you want to clean up the undeposited funds if it is simple for you to do. If you see that there is a lot of added deposit and there's a bunch of undeposited funds in there, you know that they were not matched and that the deposits were not recorded. By the way, I have a video on undeposited funds as well. Go ahead and check it out if you want to find out more about it. Unapplied payment, unapplied bill payment or cash payment. I also have a video on that. You go search for that, and I have detailed information on how to fix them. So very, very simple most of the time, but there are some complications sometimes. Okay, now check for personal transactions. By the way, each time you verify those things, you can click on done. This way it's going to show, it's keep track of the things that you still have to do, the things you have completed, or your staff if you have staff working on your books, right? All right, so review the loan payments. Make sure you have the statements. Like I said, ask the client, do you have any outstanding loan or mortgage for the business, not their personal loan, for the business? If so, we want to have the purchase order and the liability statement. From the point that the liability was acquired, so that you can put the exact date when the liability was acquired, what was the payment, and the interest paid, and so on and so forth, right? And record all cash transactions. So if client deals with cash and pays with cash or with other form of payment that is not included in QuickBooks, make sure you record those. You can either record it to a petty cash account and clear it afterwards into an equity account, or you can do a journal entry into owner's investment. So ultimately, anything, if it's not going to the cash account, if the customer doesn't have cash coming in, you cannot record expense. But if the client has cash coming in and pay with the cash, you want to make sure you record both the transactions. If not, you can record it on the equity account. Okay, accounts reconciliation, that's the next tab. And you want to make sure you reconcile all the bank accounts and all the credit card accounts, all the liability accounts, and all the asset accounts if there is any change to the assets, right? So those are important. You can also reconcile the owner's equity. One thing that I like to do is to send, if you click on owner's equity, you can actually select this little drop over here, and you can send it to the client as an Excel spreadsheet so that they can take a look. You can change the date so that the client can look at a specific date. Let's see, from January 1st through August 23rd, and look at those transactions in owner's equity, and make sure that it is owner's equities, that it is owner's distribution. Because I had client that had a bunch of transactions that was actually business expense sitting on the owner's draw. So with that being said, that is important for you to have your client review those accounts or take a look at it in detail and make sure that everything is supposed to be owner's draw, so that they're not going to miss out on or deductions, right? Take a look at the accounts receivable. So if you see something, oh yes, a couple of things here. When you're looking at the chart of accounts and you see that the chart of accounts is discrepant like that, you have a negative amount in QuickBooks and a bank balance that is positive. Of course, if all transactions are accepted, here we have a lot of transactions that have not been accepted. So that's not the time yet to decide if it is right or wrong. But after you accept all transactions, if there is a discrepancy, there is probably three things. It could be unmatched income, unmatched expenses that were entered, and it could be transactions that were entered in the bank, but it didn't actually happen. It was maybe petty cash or whatever it is. But you see something like that, you know that there might be transactions that are not matched. The bigger the difference, the more work you have. I have like this account is not linked and there's a negative amount. We know we have to go into Square and clean that up. And accounts receivable is negative, so definitely need to take a look at that. Now those things are going to take time. So one thing that I wanted to tell you, in order to decide how much you're going to charge for a for a gig, for a cleanup, or whatever it is, make sure you evaluate how long does it take you categorize, or how many transactions there are to be categorized, how many bank accounts, because the more bank accounts, the more complex it gets, because you have, all those transfers, and if they're not matched, it's all duplicating the transactions. If there's a lot of app integration, there could be a lot of things that can go wrong, right? So make sure you consider all that and charge it accordingly. So if you're gonna do it yourself, make sure you calculate how much do you want to get paid per hour, and then charge a little more so that you have a little space to to work with the client, right? Okay, and of course you wanna make sure that if you're going to hire somebody to do some of the work, you want to make sure that you charge accordingly so that you can pay somebody fairly. I like to hire all my employees in the U.S. I don't like to hire outside the U.S. because I know there are laws, and I can run a background check. I can make sure that my people are reliable and trustworthy. I cannot guarantee that if it is overseas. So that's why I prefer to work with people in the U.S. That have all the proper, background check and so on and so forth. Okay, so after you reconcile all the accounts, you want to take a look at unclear transactions. Unclear transactions can be transactions that have not been reconciled, have not been matched. So this usually get cleaned when you clean by eliminating all the duplicated accounts, eliminating all the transactions that didn't happen during the reconciliation. After you clean up everything, remove everything, and then reconcile the account, this should be eliminated. If not, then you want to take a look and see what's going on. You want to reconcile the loan accounts, review the reconciliation report, so go over with the clients, make sure that the profit and loss, and after you clean up everything and reconcile, make sure that everything is correct with the client. So the best thing is to have the client with you to go over them. And then the final review. Take a look at the accounts payable to see if there's anything outstanding for more than 90 days, and then you can contact the client and verify, okay, so this transaction, is it really outstanding, or do we need to void this invoice, or just eliminate this invoice, or was it paid in the past? So you want to make sure that if it is within the year, you want to make sure that you match that to whatever payment it came through the bank. If there is a difference, I have videos on that, how to address that. Okay, accounts receivable, more than so this was, I'm sorry, I was talking about accounts receivable more than 90 days. One thing that you can also take a look is if there is integration, there could be duplication on the transaction. You want to make sure that if those are duplication, you want to eliminate, you want to delete. Like especially in the past, when there was Square integration that changed to the new integration, a lot of clients had the transactions from the old integration. Then when they integrated with the new system, they added all those transactions back again. So you want to make sure that you eliminate all those duplicated transactions. Once again, I also have a video on that. Go check it out. Review the balance sheet, like I said, and the profit loss with the clients. Make sure there's no accounts payable for more than 90 days. That means that if you owe somebody something, or the client has some outstanding accounts for more than 9 days, make sure that the client, hasn't paid, or if it is really outstanding, it should be there, but if not, it needs to be either matched or deleted, but it cannot be outstanding. That's part of cleaning up. Okay, finally, the wrap up. You can actually prepare the reports right from here. So prepare reports, you're going to select reports. You can create the basic financial or the expanded financial. I go with the basic financial. You can put the cover title as financial reports for whatever, the company name, for the period, the name of the account, and your name here, and the disclaimer if there is any disclaimer, such as, all the information in these reports are according to the information given to us, whatever you want to disclaim to your client. Okay, so if you click on the left hand side, those are the pages that are included. So there's a profit and loss, balance sheet, statement of cash flow. If there's anything else that you want to add, such as profit and loss by percentage or profit and loss by tax, whatever it is, you can add here. You can add right from here. Okay, and here you can include or exclude this page. This is what you're gonna write, the summary of all that is going on, your recommendations if you have any, such as, take a look at your take a look at this expense. We recommend whatever recommendation you have for this client or observation, you can make it there. So here you can delete or add new reports. So this is where you can delete and add the reports. Here you just write, you can include or exclude, but here is where you can, here is where you can actually add to the reports, right? So you can delete. So let's suppose I don't want to give the statement of cash flow. You can click on the little trash can. I can add a new report, and from here I can choose. You can do the account. If the client has accounts receivable, the agent summary, whatever else, the general ledger, whatever else you want, to the percentage, the profit and loss percentage of total income. That's a good one. I like that. Or the profit and loss comparison, whatever report you want to share with the client, you can add from here. It's going to show up on the table of contents as well. And okay, finally, the last page. If you want to include any observation, you can do it here. You can uncheck this and not include this page if you don't want to. And then after you do all that, you're going to save and close, or save it. Yes. And one thing that I do, by the way, let me open that again. After I enter everything, I'm going to save it. Okay. It's already here. Okay, what I like to do is just to export to PDF right from here, and then I can attach this to my report. So that's how okay, so once you save, you can go ahead and send the report right from here. And you can send or export to PDF, whatever you want, and then email or expanded financial, whatever it is. Okay. All right. So finally, once you've done all the work, everything is correct, you send the reports, you definitely want to close the books if the client is okay with that, especially if you are a CPA and you're filing the taxes. You don't want anybody going into the bank, into the account and making changes to whatever you already filed. So you can click on Close Books, and right from here, you can click on the little pencil on the top right hand side, and on where it says Close Books, you can click on drag the little dot over here to green, and then you'll be able to enter whatever date you're closing. Suppose July 31st, 2020, whatever date you're closing, right? So this way you can either close it and allow changes after viewing with a warning, or you can add a password, and of course you need to give it to the client, or maybe not. If you think that there's gonna be things that you don't want to done in your book, in the client's book, without proper authorization. All right, so I really hope that this was useful. Thanks for spending this time with me today. I thrive by listening to all of you and telling me how much you were able to understand QuickBooks Online by watching my videos. I want to hear from you. If you want us to cover a certain subject, just write down below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We come up with different kinds of subjects quite frequently, and we want to see you next time and help you in whatever we can. Also share with your friends, share with your coworkers, share with your staff, and let us know. Let us know what kind of subject you'd like us to cover next time. I hope to see you soon, and until next time, keep on smiling.